Okay, great morning. Oh, afternoon. It's now 12:51. So I was just asked the question about well, let me go back to it and find out and so I can read it directly. Um if I can find it now. Oh, here it is. It says, profound wisdom. Wow. Could you talk about crazy wisdom, Dzog-Chen, and Guru Yoga? Why did Buddha call everything nothing? I feel meditation makes me blissful. Well, I'm glad that meditation makes you blissful. That's a good thing. Um, so this time I'm going to talk about Dzog-Chen. Okay, Dzog-Chen is a tantric path. What is Tantra? There are so many mistaken views on Tantra. If you say Tantra here in this country, people immediately think it has to do with sex. Because you see so many of these ones that say they're tantric teachers and they're teaching sex. Well, that's not the way original tantra was used. Okay, they misappropriated it. Um, so let me give a background on that. Okay, it wasn't really, but I think I will anyway. Um, it used to be in India when they had tantra. It was for the um, the elite, the Brahmins, those that wore the threefold cord, okay, the Brahmins to move ahead. Now, if you know anything about India and you know about caste system, the lowest caste, what they call lowest caste, are the untouchables, okay? So when they have the tantra, it's not like here where you have your partner, we're going to have sex and it's going to be blissful and we're going to, and it's nothing like that. Okay. What happened was you didn't pick your partner. You would go to this tantric master and they would have these ceremonies that they would do and he would choose your partner. Now the male was always a high Brahmin, high caste, and his partner was an untouchable. Now, if you know anything about the caste system, you know that the Brahmin, if an untouchable shadow even touches their shadow, they feel like they're polluted and they have to go and they do these ceremonies and this and that. And, don't you even come near me. Don't let your shadow touch my shadow. Okay. So this was a way of direct confrontation to break through this ideology that they had, that untouchables are polluted. Okay. So for this Brahmin to make his, to move forward consciously, his partner was an untouchable woman. Okay. So that's the genuine using of sex in Tantra. Again, it's not woohoo, we're going to get high, I'm going to take my partner, we're going to have a great time, let's go have sex, and we can call it spiritual. That's not what it was about. Okay. So, anyway, Dzog-Chen is a tantric path, and Dzog-Chen is the same as in Hinduism, non-dual. It's a non-dual path. Okay, it's breaking through to self-realization, to that pristine clarity, that mind, that clarity, the divine is, what I call the divine is. That which is prior to birth. Okay, I say that it's the life of all life and the death of all death. Once one transitions and implodes into that, all of your ideations that you have gathered and collected in the world of duality are blown out. They're blown out. Anyone is aware simply of this divine is, which is eternal, pristine. They say that it's that it's the void, but it's not a void. You know, people have this mistaken notion about a void. I say it's the pregnant void. Pregnant, it's pregnant with everything that will ever come into existence. Okay? Pregnant. So, anyway, I do have also a Buddhist name. My Buddhist name is Karma Sonam Wangmo, which means one that dedicates all their actions to the good of society, one that gives all their actions back. So I was very fortunate. Yeah, it was a very strange way, the way I got my name, and the way, you know, I was in the midst of traveling, ran into this guy, and he goes, and this was the first people to be initiated um, in this country. Okay. And he said, "Why don't you come with me? You know, it's this Buddhist thing." And so I went with him. And even though I was not registered, they took me through the ceremony, and I got one of the names from the old Karmapa, not the new Karmapa. This was a name that they had been holding for quite some time. And so I was very fortunate to get the name that I had. So, anyway, that's how I got the name Karma Sonam Wangmo. I went through the initiation and received that name. So, anyway, today what I wanted to say about Dzog-Chen, you know, like I said, it's more of the path of non duality, of breaking through the conditioned mind to get to that which is prior to. Okay, so one text we're going to read just a little bit out of this text. It's called The Flight of the Garuda, and it's called The Song of the Vision of Cutting Through to the Clear Light of the Great Perfection. The Divine Is, what I call the Divine Is, which has the potential of leading us quickly through the path and stages. Okay. So I'm just going to read a little bit of a couple of these songs so you can get an idea of what it's about. Emma Ho, this carefree and free-speaking vagrant with a deep intelligence now sings the flight of the Garuda, a song of vision, facilitating fast ascension of all the stages and paths. Listen attentively, my beloved sons and daughters. Like the roar of the dragon, the great name of Buddha resounds throughout the universe in samsara and nirvana, constantly vibrating in the minds of the 6 types of sentient beings. How wonderful that this resonance is not silent a moment. They may be ignorant of the Buddha's existence within, but how amazing that fools search for him outside. Clearly visible, like sunshine, bright and radiant. How surprising that so few can see him. So, you know, when you get to the Divine Is, I also call it the light beyond lights. Okay, the light beyond lights. So that is also what they call the Buddha, I call the Divine Is. The Buddha mind, the Divine Is. So let's go forward. The mind, the Buddha himself, having neither mother nor father, and that's what one finds when one implodes. I have not been born, nor have I died. I am that eternal is. Okay, so this idea of birth and death implodes, and one is within that eternality. Okay, and this is not something that one is intellectually, you know, reading about, thinking about. It just is. Okay, it just is. And this is immediate knowledge when this mind implodes and one enters that stillness, that awareness. This is what is paramount. Okay. So suffering all our multifarious feelings, how marvelous that he is unaffected for better or worse. And again, that's what remains. This divine is like the string, and all of our experiences are like the pearls on the string. And though the string holds them, the string is separate. Okay? You have all these experiences, but the string is always the same. It's not confused by any of the experiences that happens. It is always pristine, perfection as it is. So let's go forward. The original face of the mind, unborn and primarily pure before birth. Okay? How wonderful its authenticity and natural perfection. Intrinsic knowledge itself, our naturally liberated nature. How marvelous it is that no matter what occurs, it is released by letting it be. Okay? So, yes, everyone has the potentiality for realization because this is our energetic signature. Okay? Everyone has that seed of the divine is, which gives them life. I say it's the life of all life and the death of all death once one implodes into that. Okay? And what does it say by letting it be? It means that, when you get prior to, you don't any longer cover it over. One covers it over with the realm of duality, dualistic experiences, taking the body form to be who and what you are, which separates one from that divine is. Okay, so let's go forward. Song 2, Emma Ho. Noble beloved sons and daughters, listen without distraction. All the victorious Buddhas of the past, present, and future have taught 84,000 books of scripture, teaching as boundless as space itself, but all to one end, how to realize the nature of mind. The Buddhas taught nothing more than this. If the principal root of a tall tree is severed, its 10,000 branches and leaves will wither and die altogether. Likewise, when the single root of mind is cut, the leaves of samsara, such as dualistic clinging, perish. So what is that root? The root of it is mind, is ego. What is ego? Identification as a body form, separate, that's having these experiences, something that's born and something that dies. Okay? So that's the root of mind. This feeling of wanting to protect, to to have these experiences, to gather, to collect. Okay? So when one is gathering, collecting, or trying to keep safe, or whatever it is, they are covering over that original pristine divine is. So let's go forward. The empty house that has stood in darkness for millennia is illuminated instantly by a single lamp. Likewise, in instant realization of the mind's clear light eradicates negative propensities and mental obscurations inculcated over countless eons. And that's what I say, the mind, it implodes. Who and what you thought you were is gone in an instant. It's boom. It as if it never was. It's like seeing that one was involved in a soap opera and wore these different masks and these different bodies, these different things to garner experience, but one is not that. One is that which is prior to that divine is, that eternal is, that pristine, the pregnant void. Okay, eternal in nature. Okay, so again, when ego implodes, and if one comes out of it and then they don't reroute mind, and mind stays still, then as one is in that pristine divine is that they are speaking of. and one is beyond delusion. And though your eyes come out of it and you see dualistic, one is ever within the reality of non-duality, or that divine is. Okay. Indeterminate is the color and shape of the sky, and its nature unaffected by black or white clouds. Okay, so you see the sky is clear. You have black, you have white clouds, but they don't touch the sky. They're not doing anything to the sky. Just as whatever experiences we have, if you have imploded into that divine is, it doesn't touch any of that. Okay, that is never changed. Likewise, the color and shape of mind's nature is indeterminate, and it cannot be tainted by black or white conduct, by virtue or vice. Okay? When you get out of mind and you are no longer transfixed and locked into this idea of being a body, okay, a transient form, then again, none of these things touch. It's like, how can I explain it? It's like being the ocean, okay? There are waves on the top of the ocean, and you see the waves. They can be experienced, but you are also that depth. You're that stillness, that depth that's aware of the waves, okay? And may feel the waves, but you are not the waves. You are also aware of that divine stillness, okay? Even in the midst of sound is silence. In the midst of action is inaction, okay? You've gone to that seed state. So let's go forward. Milk is the basis of butter, but the butter will not separate until the milk is churned. Likewise, human nature is the ground of Buddhahood, but without existential realization, sentient beings cannot awaken. Okay? So you go through these experiences, and as these things are churned, you look deeper. Okay? Neti, not this, not this, not this. This is one of the things that I give my students. Instead of saying, like Ramana was said, look at the I am, I say instead of looking at I am, because I am, especially in English country, you want to say I am this, I am that. You want to layer things on. Okay? So instead of that, I say neti, not this, not this. Whatever is changing, whatever is transient, cannot be the divine is not the primal being, is not the primal mind. So whatever is transient, whether it's emotions, form, whatever, that's not it. You have to go deeper. Neti, look deeper, go deeper, until you get to that which is unchanging, permanent, eternal, pristine. Okay? Before birth, before death. Okay? Go there. So, though through Gnostic, a pure nature of mind or basic cognition, independent of intellectual constructs, again, independent of intellectual constructs, all intellectual things, and that's the problem with Nisargadatta. Was it not Nisargadatta? What's his name? They have two of them that had the same name. I could see his face. But he would try to get people to realization intellectually. Okay, and you can't think your way there, because all thought comes from duality. You can't get to non-duality by intellectual discussion of duality. Okay, so let's go forward. Experience the nature of reality through practice of these precepts. All beings can gain freedom regardless of the acuity of his faculties. Even a cowherd attains liberation if his one's existential experience is non-dual realization. Okay? So again, it takes coming to it not through intellectual means, but by observation, discernment, going through, and again, not this, not this, not this. It's like peeling away an onion. Okay? When you realize the clear light of mind's nature, the pundit's words of wisdom are redundant. Again, let me read that again. When you realize the clear light of mind's nature, the pundit's words of wisdoms are redundant. How relevant is another's description of the taste of treacle when your mind is full of it? Okay? So again, once you know, you know. There's no more search. There's no more, it just simply is. It's a fact. Just like now you know that you're breathing air and it's a fact. It's not something you have to read about. It's not something you have to think about. It's not something you have to study. It just simply is. And though you have all these texts of people trying, that have, entered realization or clear light, clear mind, trying to give these texts to aid others, again, it's not going to get you there. You have to get there yourself. Okay? So even the pundit is deluded if he has no existential realization. They're reading, a lot of these pundits or teachers, if they're not self-realized, then they're just parroting back what they've read. Their assumptions, the ideas about something. Okay? So one can have a whole lot of ideas about something, calculated guesses, but a calculated guess and an assumption is not the same as the living reality. Okay? The living reality is so different than one's assumptions about what it's going to be. Okay? So let's go forward. He or one may be skilled in comprehensive exposition of the 9 approaches to Buddhahood, but he is far distant from Buddhahood as earth is from the sky, if he knows only of it from second-hand accounts. Okay? You may keep your strict moral discipline for an eon and patiently practice meditation for an eternity, but if you have yet to realize the clear light of mind's immaculate nature, you will not extricate yourself from the 3 realms of samsara. So diligently examine the nature of your mind. Okay? So those are the first 2 songs. Again, Dzog-Chen is basically the path, a tantric path to realization, to non-duality. So this goes through, I only read the first 2. This has got, it's 20 something. Let me look and see how many songs. 23 songs. And I only did the first 2. But all of it keeps pointing back to, that you need to do the experience. You need to get there yourself. It needs to implode into this. One needs to go into that still mind. Okay? And when one enters that, the thoughts end. They're quiet. One has clear seeing. Okay? One enters into Turiyatita, beyond the mind, into that stillness. And one comes out, and again, though the eyes may register a dualistic plane, the mind, the consciousness, is forever in non-duality. Okay, so I'm going to leave this here, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll see if I can get to the other questions here soon. But if you are interested in the non-dual texts, Flight of the Garuda is really a lovely, lovely pointing on the way to non-duality, okay, from the point of view of Dzog-Chen, okay? So I'm going to leave this here. Thank you for your question. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope somebody's gotten something from it. Much love and light. Thank you for spending time with me. Please be safe out there, and I'll see you online.